to the Week 5 review of the Franchise League. Let's start with the matchups.
I like that intro, by the way.
The Franchise League.
Franchise. That's a good word.
The. First matchup, Bear Bashers with a 10-3 win over Zips. Do you have anything to say about that?
Well, I've been critiqued for using certain phrases, so I'm just going to say someone that didn't make my Power 6 you played. Mm-hmm. You pounded them.
I did.
So I wouldn't jump up and down about it.
No,
I will congratulate you on Adam Duvall and his 4 runs, 4 singles, 2 doubles, 1 triple, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 391 average, and a 4.44 OBP.
Wow.
Pretty sure he carried you that week.
Yeah. Actually, there's a lot of the categories were very close, even though it was a 10-3 win. It's separated into 2 days because Saturday, Zips were 17 for 36 that day, and put the score at 7-6 going into Sunday, and then Sunday his team went 5 for 47, and that's all it was. If he would have had a couple more hits out of those 47 at bats, the scores would have been different. I mean, there were so many close categories, but he had a terrible Sunday. So
you gotta finish. Gotta
finish. Next, over Ben's Champs with an 11-5 victory. The biggest thing I noticed is that Ben's Champions, the 5 starters that he dropped had over a 7 ERA. So if you're going to play pitcher roulette, you're going to get that sometimes, because that was basically the biggest reason why he got spanked in the pitching category.
It's okay. It's a strategy.
Yeah. And even though his team did hit 13 homers, Ben's Champs, he only hit 239 batting average. So,
well, that's his mantra. Hit home runs. Hit home runs. Mm-hmm. It's the only category we care about. Still giving away 2 points. Mm-hmm. So, again, thank you again for saves and holds. Mm-hmm. Easy 2 points. Yeah. I would like to say Altuve tried to take on the Ben's Champions approach with hitting some home runs and driving in some runs, but he only hit 231 for the week. But again, there were some close categories, but I think, again, like your matchup, it came down to the weekend, and it is what it is.
He had a 382 on-base percentage. I really like that. So
get used to it.
Oh, okay. All right, then. Next, Alaska Glaciers over 5 Swords, 7-5. Very, very close matchup.
Finally.
Yes.
Some good matchups.
Yes.
Something to be excited about. Something to say, oh my gosh, that could have gone either way. The only thing I had written down was there were 5 categories that ended up being tied. So there's 4 points that could have swung
either way,
or they could have split them. As some people will say, they could have split them. But still, 4 categories tied is not something you see all the time.
The interesting thing here is Alaska Glaciers with the 193 ERA and the 107 WHIP. If his pitching gets hot, he could really make a run.
Well, I mean, again, that's when you talk about Alaska Glaciers, that's normally what his mantra is. So this could be, a move in the rankings for Alaska Glaciers if this,
One other thing I noticed in this matchup, have you noticed how hot Bellinger is?
Great pick.
Yeah.
Number 1 pick in our draft.
Yeah, I know, but he took a little beef from that. There was people that did not agree with Bellinger being picked up there.
Well, people gave him beef, but people wanted him to take him because they had other guys that they wanted. So they were very happy that he took him.
Yeah, but that wasn't... I didn't care. I'm just saying.
The thing on Bellinger was depending on what you read, a lot of people were very big on him and a lot of people were saying he's got holes in his swing, but...
But anyway,
right now it looks good.
In the last week, he was 429, 4 homers, 12 RBIs in the week. That's crazy.
I mean, again, great pick. Way to do your homework. Way to do some research.
Then we've got Globo Gem with an 11-3 drubbing of Pine Tree Grove Fields.
That one actually surprised me.
Yeah?
The final outcome.
Right.
I have down that I believe Pine Tree Lane did not win a pitching category.
It's true.
And that's
clean sweep of all pitching categories.
How do you do that when you have Clayton Kershaw?
He had a bad start, actually. It wasn't a bad start in general. It was bad for him. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't completely awful, but yeah, he had a 6.83 ERA and a 1.58 WHIP for the week. pine tree.
Well, and we did discuss this too. I mean, ERAs in general for teams this week were
They were up.
awful. They were
Yeah,
awful.
which is funny considering how bad the weather was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a really bad weather week.
True. That is true.
So go. Also, Globo Gym's 50 points better batting average wise this week than he was last week. So he improved by 30 points as a team.
So would that be based on any
50
trades, or is that just a fluctuation of what happened for the week?
I don't know. We'll talk more about that later.
Well, and don't forget, we have to put this in too as a request from Globo Gym that on Sunday, to make it exciting, Javier Baez single-handedly won him 3 categories.
Oh, why? What did he do?
Well, the home run and the stolen base.
Because a guy hits a home run and a stolen base, now he single-handedly wins the category?
Well, if he doesn't do
No. The only way he single-handedly wins that category is if he won the category 1-0, with 1 home run and the other guy had none. Then other than that, it's not a single-handedly anything, unless the guy goes
Okay, so then
off.
you take out the phrase single-handedly.
I don't like that.
He won the categories for him on Sunday. How's that?
That's, I guess. I don't
Well, you can't guess. I'm giving you stats,
Alright.
which makes it true.
Whatever. Anyway, Team Jobu with an 11-5 win over the Row. Jobu with his 2nd consecutive week of hitting 300 as a team.
As I said last week, when the weather starts getting warmer, so does Team Joe Boo.
Yeah, and they actually they only split the offensive categories with Murderers Row. The only pitching category they won was holds.
It's a shaky staff. He's got 1 good guy,
Yeah.
maybe 2, and
Yeah, I mean
he's got a good bullpen. Murderers Row.
Yeah,
Does have a good bullpen,
yeah,
but
but yeah, the 5.75 ERA he needs to improve on, but not yet because I'm playing him this week. So you have to wait a week before you improve that.
I had, and I'm sure Team Joe Boo was very happy to have Gene Sakura back in the lineup, as he produced 7 runs, 11 singles, 1 homer, 5 RBIs, 2 stolen bases. He hit .481 and had an over 500 on base percentage. So I'm sure Team Joe Boo was very happy to have him back inserted in his shortstop position. And Murderers Row, his young Yankees, are, Mr. Judge had a pretty great week.
Yeah, he did.
So it looks like he has some potential for some good players. Question with Murderers Row, will he hold on to them and for how long?
Well, they're Yankees, so he will. I think that changes how his
Oh.
thinking goes. I think he'll keep the Yankees.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Ads and drops for the week. What?
Well, I mean, we both agreed on what number 1 was.
Yeah. Yep. Number 1 we have, and it goes both ways. It's the Eric Hosmer drop and the Eric Hosmer pickup.
Well, when you have 20 hitters on your roster and you don't know what to do, I guess dropping Eric Hosmer was the logical thing to do if you're bench champions.
Wouldn't you drop Chris Davis?
For the same reason that Murderers Row will not trade Aaron Judge or Gary Sanchez.
I guess it's just Oriole love.
Orioles.
I don't know.
I would also like to put honorable mention again, and this is 2 good mentions this video for 5 Swords. Mark Reynolds as a pickup of the week. Now, even though he didn't play Monday and Tuesday, played the rest of the week in the matchup. 5 runs, 5 singles, 3 homers, 4 RBIs, hit .500, OBP of 529. That's a great pickup for 5 Swords.
It is. I wonder now, once they can get completely healthy, if Reynolds is going to keep getting the at-bats.
They're going to have some lineup issues, so that should be interesting. But again, 5 Swords, great pickup.
Yeah, it was. I also have as a bad drop, and this was more of a future drop than just this week, but Zips dropping Matt Holliday. I think
he doesn't like old guys, so I guess if he picks up a Matt Holliday, he's only going to pick him up for a day or 2.
Now, see, I thought he liked old established players.
Then why do you trade away Edwin Encarnacion?
I don't know, maybe because he thought he wasn't that great. Kind of like you kind of mentioned how you didn't really like Double E. Because he's a slow starter.
He is.
That's all it is. He's just a slow starter. He has like an OPB in June of OPS in June of 980 something. It's crazy. He gets really hot once the weather warms up.
Unfortunately for him, it's still cold.
Yes, it's still cold right now. So, Also, it was a good pickup for Globo Gym with Brett Gardner.
Yes.
On his roster, he has him at 357, 1 homers, and 3 RBIs, which doesn't sound great, but in general, it seems maybe he's not playing them. I don't know.
He's been swinging the bat very well.
Yeah.
Well, he probably isn't with his studded outfield.
Yeah, his outfield's so amazing. Okay, trades for the week.
Lots of trades last week.
Yeah,
very interesting ones.
Yes, there was. Now, you have the first one written down there because I missed it, so go ahead and go with it.
Oh, the most controversial one you want to start with?
Sure.
So we had a trade involving 2 blood relatives in the league. It involved Team The and Zips. The trade was Michael Conforto and farmhand Gleyber Torres for Daniel Murphy.
Yeah. This is all kinds of bad, but
I had a tough time trading away Conforto. I'm going to be honest with you.
For Daniel Murphy, you wouldn't want a second baseman who's going to possibly hit 330 for you.
I already have one.
Well,
Now I have 2.
well, you just have such a surplus of batting average on your team. Why would you ever want more? I don't understand why you'd even think about it. But yes, I don't think Conforto's terrible, but it's hard to get a second baseman who has that kind of all-around fantasy value. You can get a lot of second basemen right now. Second base is kind of deep as far as home runs, RBIs, but you don't find guys who hit 330 with the home runs and the RBIs.
That is true.
And
I think the other thing that made this so controversial is there was another league member who thinks that their trade offer was way better just because he offered Edwin Encarnacion, this player that we've already discussed earlier. So,
again, I mean, the only argument that I can get between that, because yes, EE is a better player, but if Zips is packing it up, if he's rebuilding, this is a better trade for him because he's got Conforto and Torres in the future. So, I mean, it just depends on how you run your dynasty team.
Oh, it was a great trade.
Yeah, you loved it. All right, next, we'll get your opinion on this one because I don't think you've actually said much about it. Matt Kemp to Bear Bashers for Alex Bregman to Alaska Glaciers.
Well, unbeknownst to the members in our group text, I did give my opinion on it, and that was when you texted me and asked me my opinion on whether you should take it or not.
Well, yeah,
and
I did do that.
That was in the group text, and I will stand by my text message. Yes, take that offer and run with it. It's so interesting that we have guys in our league that say all the time, prospects are fool's gold, and, you don't know what they're going to do, and if someone's willing to give you something for this perceived value of a player, you should take it and run with it.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's exactly what you did. You got an established vet playing in a great ballpark, hitting behind a guy who eventually is going to start getting pitched around, Freddie Freeman.
Oh, yeah.
And as long as Matt Kemp stays healthy, I think you got away with more than what I did. And here's why. Hear me out. The argument right now is on Alex Bregman and his potential. What if his potential is Trevor Plouffe?
It could be. That's not possible.
Would you still make that trade?
Yeah, I know.
I just don't understand how guys want to flip-flop all the time on their opinions of, well, if you can trade a prospect away and someone's going to give you something, you should do it. And then when someone else does it, they say, oh, I can't believe you did that. And I also want to squash one more rumor. Went straight to the source. That is the most you would have gotten from Alaska Glaciers.
So you're saying Globo Jim lied to me? He said that if I asked for more, that Alaska would have given me more.
My inside source tells me that you may have gotten Raziel Iglesias as a throw-in.
Okay.
Does that get you excited?
No, I wouldn't have even wanted him.
So the rumor that you could have gotten more. Now, did you offer Bregman to other teams, though, is what the argument was.
No. Okay. I was only approached by Globo Jim, and again, I don't know if you don't know this, but it was just a couple days before this whole trade happened. Mm-hmm. He asked for Bregman, and he wanted to give me a starting pitcher, and I said at that time Paxton was still healthy for me, so that was the least of them. I didn't want any pitching.
What if it was Darvish? I'm sure he didn't offer you Darvish, but what if you would have found out and said that you would have gotten back to him and said, "Hey, I'm going to take Matt Kemp. Can you do better on a starting pitcher?" Would you have taken Darvish?
No, I would have taken Kemp over Bregman or Kemp over Darvish because and again, a lot of this has to do with ballpark. If you watch the games and you hear the announcers, it's an ongoing joke that the outfielders can't play deep enough in that ballpark because the ball is just sailing.
Interesting.
And wait until it gets warm because it's going to be even more of a, launch pad.
Now, would you like to address the other issue that came up when you made this trade, which is I thought you were rebuilding.
Yeah, well,
You just traded away a young talent for an old guy.
Look, actually, that was the most correct thing that Globo Jim said because I am at a position a year earlier than I thought I would be. I mean, I'm out of the gates really hot. I mean, there's no doubt about that, right?
Some people say you can't win a championship in April.
Well, you can definitely lose one. That's what you know what I mean. That's the thing. I mean the wins count the same whether they're in April or they're in August. It doesn't matter. You got to get the win somehow. So yeah. And honestly, if Bregman's May is the same as it was in April, in June, do you think he has the same trade value? You know what I mean?
It all depends who you offer him to because apparently potential now is what reigns supreme.
I mean, he had 5 extra base hits in the first month of the season. If he goes through and has 10 extra base hits in 2 months, and he's hitting 250 with no home runs.
You don't have to convince me on it.
I know.
I sent you the text and said take it.
I'm just saying. I mean, you gotta at least try to get what you can when you can. If you sit there and wait until August and then try to trade,
well, I guess the
argument. I don't
argument.
want this guy now.
But the argument is, what if he does the exact opposite and he starts doing what he did at the end of last
He could. I still like him. I don't think there's anything wrong with him. It's just that I don't think he's winning an MVP, and I think Kemp is an MVP caliber player. He was in 2011, and I know that's 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 6 years ago now. But either way, I mean, I just think it was too good of an
Like I said, I thought it was a great trade. Didn't understand what the haters were all about.
All right, and then the last trade, the Kyle Seager to Jobu for Starling Castro to Zips.
Is Zips turning into a Yankee homer now, or because he just traded for 2 Yankees? You're big on Kyle Seager, a former Kyle Seager owner.
It's funny because both of these guys are complete opposites. Castro, for some reason, always starts strong and then fades. Seager always is a slow starter and then becomes strong later on. And that's just the MOs of those two guys. So actually, if you're asking me who wins the trade, it's going to be Team Jobu because Kyle Seager will be an all-star third baseman by the time the all-star break hits. That's what he does.
Based on our power rankings, that's more beneficial for Jobu as he could be a playoff team, and Zips is possibly on the outside looking in.
But the Yankee lineup has been so good, I don't think Castro just fades into having no value or anything like he has in the past.
But the guy doesn't walk, so...
He doesn't walk, that is true.
It doesn't matter if guys are on base. If you strike out, you strike out.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, one other thing I had here, trivia question for you.
Oh!
Trivia question, yeah.
Doing something new.
A little bit different.
All right. I'm ready.
Can you name the 2 GMs and what categories they are 5-0 against the opposition in the categories that they are? Do you understand that question? It was kind of worded funny.
I do. Well, it came from you, so that's kind of obvious. Yeah. But yes, with my intellect, I think I can figure out what you're trying to ask me. Mm-hmm. You were saying, looking at the categories, there are 2 GMs who are currently undefeated.
And not just undefeated, 5-0. So there's no ties or anything. You know what I mean? It wasn't 2-0 and 2 ties.
Well, I didn't say undefeated and tied. I said undefeated.
All right. Okay.
Okay. These are offensive, or am I supposed to guess from all 18 categories?
No. They are both offensive categories.
So basically, I have 10 teams to go through and 9 categories.
Yes.
I'm sure Ben's Champions would be able to tell me the statistical probability of what chance I have of guessing this right.
Yes.
And you don't have the answer in front of you on your paper, correct?
I do not, but I know what they are, yes.
Well, good, because I want to make sure there's no cheating in case I guess, because I also have no idea.
This is very hard. I don't expect you to get it, but...
Really?
No.
I'm going to say... Ben's Champions is one of the teams.
No.
My only other guess would be Globo Gym.
No.
Then I have no idea.
Okay. Actually, Alaska Glaciers.
In offense.
In an offensive category, and it's actually pretty. It's the difference is pretty high. On base percentage, 5-0, and if you actually look at the team stats, he has the highest on base percentage in the league.
Wow.
I know.
That is
Isn't that interesting? And the other one is Bear Bashers.
How did I know a trivia question
just
where
a-
one of the co-hosts was going to be one of the answers?
5-0 in home runs. So that's what it is.
Is that a product of the players that you have or the product of the GMing that you've been performing?
I'm going to say a little bit of both. Now, there is actually one other part to this. Can you name the GM who is 0-5? And it's just one category. 0-5. And I'll give you a hint. It's an offensive category.
It is Team the... No.
No, it's not Team D. I mean,
Well, is it Five Swords?
no, it's not Five Swords.
Ben's Champions.
No, it's not.
Oh, that's right. You said offensive, not pitching. Sorry. I was going to say he's the king of not winning 2 categories.
Yeah.
Team Joe Bill.
No.
All right, I have no idea.
Okay. It is Murderer's Row.
Okay.
Murderer's Row is 0-5 in runs scored.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I know. Both of the runs scored and Alaska Glacier's on base percentage was pretty interesting to me. But those are the 2
Runs
categories.
scored.
He's 0-5 in runs scored.
But he's not at the bottom in categories like home runs and RBIs.
Not really.
So how's that? That
Because
just
he's hitting a lot of solo home runs, I guess.
Ah.
I mean,
Tell
it's
your
all-
guys to get on base.
Yeah. All right. So now the only thing that we have left to do is the power rankings. Now it's time for the power rankings. All right. Would you like to start with your number 6 team in the power rankings?
Yes, and I do apologize this week. It is going to be a little boring as far as my power rankings until we get towards the top. So based on everything that happened, I wasn't really impressed with the people that won. I wasn't really impressed with the people they beat.
Okay.
So again, I'm staying status quo. Number 6 is Pine Tree Lane.
Yeah. No. I gotcha. So you're not much to say about that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Dropping 2 slots for me.
Dropping?
From 4 to 6 is Ben's Champions.
Still in your top 6 though.
Still in my top 6.
And
But-
what is your reasoning for keeping him in your top 6? As he is not in my top 6.
If you look at overall team performance, it is better than 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, that's the easiest way of saying it.
But again, we still have the human factor, which is the GMing, which you should take into consideration.
So you're knocking his GMing is what you're doing.
Well, absolutely. If you're going to continue to give 2 points away every matchup, and whether it's arrogance
Arrogance.
or just, I'm too busy because it's April, May, June, and I have all this other stuff to do, drama, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear it.
Hey, like he said in the text thread, get your negativity out of here.
It's not negativity, I'm stating facts.
All right.
Number 5
Number
for me,
5.
again, staying status quo. Alaska Glaciers. And as we talked about earlier, pitching
Yes.
was fantastic. If some of his offensive guys start producing like they're supposed to,
Yeah.
rising. He will be a riser.
Yes, and he is actually new to my rankings. Alaska Glaciers, also my number 5. He was not in last week.
So
But-
what impressed you?
Well, the pitching. The pitching actually looked like Alaska Glacier's pitching. You know what I mean? I mean, those numbers were too good. And especially in a situation where everybody else's pitching's been terrible, it really looks good, when yours is that successful. So
Again, still a little worried about. He also has a GMing / team strategy issue too, with only having one closer and a couple holds guys maybe.
True.
But
That's
again,
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To each their own. You can run your team the way you want.
All right. Number 4.
For me, again, he is climbing, even though he stayed in the same spot. And what I mean by that is teams 1, 2, and 3 should be on the lookout, as I am still a big fan of the defending champ, Mr. Team Jobu. I still think that, again, and I will keep saying this to sound like a broken record, when the weather gets warmer, Team Jobu's team is going to get hotter. Again, I feel like he has a lot of, and I feel like we're saying this for everyone, pitching issues.
Yeah.
But that offense is ridiculous.
It is.
And teams 1, 2, and 3 look out, because the defending champ is coming.
I think a big guy for him is Cargo. If he's... You know what I mean?
That's what I mean.
He hasn't done anything.
I still have him at 4, and he hasn't done anything yet.
Yep. And I also agree. My number 4 is also Team Jobu.
Boring.
Yeah, I guess it is boring, but 2 weeks in a row of having an offense hitting over 300, that's really good compared to what everybody else is doing.
Get some pitching.
Yeah. Okay, number 3.
Again, this is where you and I differ,
How do you know? You don't know what my number 3 is.
because you're still drinking this guy's Kool-Aid in gallons.
He could be my number 3. I didn't get there yet.
I doubt it. He didn't do anything last week that you're going to drop him. So I still have you at number 3. I have 1, 2, and 3 getting closer together. I also have Team Jobu climbing up the charts. You made some trades that I think are going to help your team. You're still missing a piece or two. Yes, Chris Owings is working out for you.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Talk to me in June and July about Chris Owings if he's still on your roster.
Yeah.
But yeah, Global Gym,
Yeah.
number 3.
My number 3, Bear Bashers.
Not big on yourself.
I kind of agree with you. Yeah, I beat Zips 10-3. A lot of those categories were close. If he would have done anything on Sunday, it would have been like an 8-6 win. Like, it wouldn't have even been a big win. He just had a terrible Sunday. I mean, my team performed okay, but not better than what you or my number 1 had. Go ahead, your number.
So I actually had a drop this week. So from my number 1 and my number 2.
Yeah.
And actually I have 2 number 1s for my Power 6.
Wow.
So I'm going to give you 1B.
1B. Probably because a 10-3 loss that shouldn't have you drop in the power rankings. Is that why?
But as you said, a couple categories on Sunday, and it's an 8-6 matchup
would've
against
been.
someone who isn't even in my Power 6.
Okay. All right.
Or yours, by the way.
Yeah, not in mine either.
So 1B for me this week is the. 1B, the.
Yes.
Now, yes, a couple categories against Ben's champions were close. I'm dealing with a lot of injuries right now, and still managed to score 11 points this week. Thank you again for those 2 free ones. Love them. And what are you guys going to do when my guys actually start hitting? Think about this. I won 11-5 without Trout, with Altuve hitting 2-something, with newly acquired Daniel Murphy only playing a couple games.
I guess we'll continue to lose to you 11-5. Is that what you're
Oh, I mean, that's fine with me. No, again, I always peak in April, and then I'm going to have a June or July where I'm going to lose a lot. That's just typically what happens with my team. So for now, I'm still climbing the rankings as we're doing this weekly. 1B, your number 2 team?
My number 2 is also Team
Big
V.
surprise, who number 1 still is.
I would say it has been the most consistent team through the first 5 weeks.
Most consistent doesn't mean best, though, apparently, in your lingo.
No, and I will get to that once we get to the number 1.
My number 1,
1A or 1B, which is it?
1A,
1A.
because the was 1B because it rhymed,
Yeah.
is still the Bear Bashers.
Right.
Yes, your final score was what it was supposed to be. You did point out you had a couple close categories.
Yeah, very close.
You seem to be pulling the right strings and pushing the right buttons still with your platooning, and I think the trade you made helps you more than it's going to hurt you.
Yes. So that gets to my number 1, Globo Gym. And here's the situation.
Big surprise, Globo Gym!
Think about this. All right.
Do I have to?
Yeah, you have to. Team stats, all right? The number 10, the last place batting average in the entire league is Globo Gym.
How can that be the number one team then?
Well, just listen. 239 batting average for the season. This isn't just 1 week. For the season, 239 batting average. And right now, he's 2.5 games out of first place.
So he's not even in first place.
Well, he's in third place, technically, if you just go by standings, right? But think about that. Do you think his team's going to hit 239 all year?
No, they could hit 229.
No, they're not going to. That's why I continue to have Globo Gym at number 1, because these are power rankings, and I still
But
think...
he's not powerful. You just said he's only hitting 239.
Well, he's hitting home runs.
Oh, well, that's power.
Yeah. So yeah, I still like Globo Gym because he hasn't peaked yet, and he's where he's at. I think once he has a couple of good offensive weeks, he could really take off.
So then why don't you have a team like Ben's Champions in your Power 6 if that's kind of the same strategy that each team is
Because
using?
Globo Gym's actually winning.
Oh,
that's the difference.
Winning.
Yeah, I mean Globo Gym's third place in the standings, while Ben's Champions is 7, I believe. I think
He might still be 6.
it's either 6 or 7,
depending on what happened. Yeah, because remember the bottom teams are not good.
Yeah. So, well, I guess that's it for week 5.
Wasn't very exciting.
No. Do you have any other mentions of anything else, or?
I mean, we had a few things happen on the message board that I don't think are really worth addressing. You didn't say anything that we didn't already know you thought about. I mean, you were a little bit more graphic in it, and that could have been because of other things that were going on or other things you were consuming. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. I didn't really get that excited about it as much as some of the other people in our group text like to get, but...
You know what's interesting is that I kind of had a fallout with him over these videos like 2 or 3 years ago, and he said he wasn't going to watch them anymore. So I didn't think I thought he stopped watching them.
Well, I guess it depends on when you talked to him that night, because you said that he did say he watched it, and then when I talked to him the next day, he had no recollection of anything that was in the video.
Yeah, I know.
We understand you don't like it. We get that. It's a personal choice. It doesn't affect what's going on right now, though. That's our biggest thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. It doesn't have any correlation, the farm system and the success for a team right now.
No.
Doesn't have anything to do with
The only other thing I would comment on is the weather this week was awful.
Yes.
So hopefully better days, better baseball, and actually games will be played.
Yeah, there will be. All right, so we will see you next week. See you later, bye.